Hey guys, guess what I just got in the mail? Look at that, a brand new Renogy 100 watt, 300 amp solar panel for the camper. Let's go ahead and unbox it. Alright guys, so this is the exact same solar panel kit from Renogy that I used for my small camper that I built years ago. If you're new to the channel, I built a small 4x8 camper. It was an old box trailer that I pretty much just completely built out myself. The frame was there, but everything else wasn't. So I went ahead and built a little camper. We took it to Colorado, and I've done some more camping in it, and it's very small but very enjoyable. And that small 100 watt, 30 amp solar panel with a battery serves its purpose very well. This I needed, or I wanted, for the large camper. That way, if I'm off grid and I'm not near a shore power source, I can make sure that there's power being generated for the batteries in the system. That way I can still run my lights and my water pump to take a shower, whatever it is. I know it's not going to be the greatest thing. You can't run a heater or the AC off of the battery alone, but I have a propane heater and I have a propane hot water heater, so in the wintertime that'll be fine. The AC in the summertime might be an issue, but if I'm going to be camping in the mountains, I won't need an AC, and if I'm going to be camping at a lake nearby, I'll probably have shore power, so that'll be kind of nice and not some primitive there. So anyways, let's go ahead and crack this open. It just came along with something else for the camper, which I'll do that later. But this kit is it's the simplest kit ever. This is the I don't know which, the Wanderer maybe? This is the Wanderer kit, if I remember right. It's been like 4 days since I ordered it. And we're in the midst of a pandemic right now. Alright. So he apologized, the UPS driver did, that it would probably be dusty, and the box is dusty, and so is the panel itself. Alright. Same panel. Look at that thing. It's nice. It's super lightweight. Fairly sleek in the wind. I don't remember any issues being had on my other camper to where it'd be affected by wind or anything. It is only about an inch and a quarter thick, the frame. The panel itself is probably like 3/16 thick, maybe even less than that. But it's pretty cool. I don't know what all this comes with. Oh yeah. This is the charge controller. Oh, it's even different. The Wanderer, this looks a little bit different than the one I got. It's bigger maybe? Yeah, my other one's smaller. The Wanderer charge controller. Battery cables, positive and negative. And tray cables which I don't think I have enough. I'm going to have to do something different with this. But I got cables directly to the panel, and so basically what just happens, this is completely different than the one I got. It had smaller wiring actually. These are the brackets. The 4 brackets and mounting hardware and hardware for the to go through the roof and everything. So that's gonna be nice. This isn't gonna be enough wiring by any means. So this will go to the battery, but I do have my own 12 gauge wiring. I believe it's 12 gauge. That I'll run from the cable up to my panel, or to the charge controller inside, and then this is the tray cable from the panel that I'll run down to that, which will be enough for that, sure. So I'm kind of excited about that. So there's the unboxing of the solar panel for the camper. I'll probably do this in a multiple day thing, but I'll get on that soon enough. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and place the solar panel today, and I've opted to put it on the rear side of the camper, mainly because that's where my electronics are at for the most part. I'm going to put it behind the AC for the reason of aerodynamics, basically. I didn't want to put it in front of the AC just because there's a chance that it could catch more wind, and if I put it in the back side of the AC, at least that'll cut a lot of the wind hitting the solar panel and less chance of ripping off if it doesn't have a good attachment point. I do have concerns about the ceiling itself. I know there's a good wall over on that side, and there should be something here underneath, but I want to make sure that everything I'm attaching to is nice and sturdy, and it's not going to just be a thin piece of material underneath this. So I believe I've got a joint right here, and there should be one back here that I can attach the solar panel to. You're also sitting right next to the exhaust for the refrigerator, and so it comes up and there's a little cowling right there right next to you. I'll show you that here in a second. And that cowling goes all the way down to the back side of the refrigerator, and it also has the access port for the refrigerator plug-in and gas lines, because it is a propane electric refrigerator. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place it here, and then I will be running the lines over and into that little exhaust port and down to my electric panel that's already existent. That's where the switches are and my radio sits, and I'll be just making a little face for the charge controller to sit on, along with eventually a meter for the amount of sun or amount of power that the solar panel itself is bringing in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around and start taking stuff off over on that side. Alright, so here I'm on the other side. This is the vent I was talking about. This is where you guys are sitting next to before. 4 simple screws, and this comes off. This does need to be replaced. Unfortunately, the RV shop is closed for the weekend, and they've got restricted hours towards the whole stay-at-home order here in the state of Kansas, so they can only do so much. Most of that is being done by calling them, and they'll bring the product out to you in a card swiper, and they swipe your card right there in the parking lot, which is fine, but ultimately it sucks for business. So this is just screwed into some metal, and these aren't even stainless screws. These are just some drywall screws. So I don't know if that's factory or what. Oh no, it doesn't have one. I forgot. It wore itself out. So that's all they are. Just some basic screws, not even stainless. So I will replace those with stainless. So there's a lot of heat coming out of here. And what I'm going to do is place the solar panel about the shadow spot, where that'll be about halfway through the panel. Run the lines over here, tack them down, because there is a wall here, and there's some material here to tack it to, and then run them through here, and then down and into that area right there. And hopefully that doesn't affect wiring. It shouldn't, I don't think. I would believe that this wire mesh is obviously here for prevention of bees and birds and stuff from nesting in here. I would assume it's probably factory, but I don't know. Oh yeah, there's plenty of room in here. Check this out, guys. Can you see the wallpaper? That is the original wallpaper right there. Alright, so that's where I'm going to place it at. Now I know underneath this little rib here, right in line with this, there is a brace right through there. So I know the front will be set in stone. on a cross member. The back I'm not so sure about. It's awful soft and short underneath here, but I'm just not 100% sure. So the reason why I'm mounting up in the front is because obviously this goes across here, so I can mount two screws on both sides. So 4 in the front and 4 in the back. I may have to make up some more brackets for the back just to make sure, but that's where they're going to land at if I do it that way. I can do it sideways. There's holes, 2 holes in the back and 2 holes in the sides where these can be mounted up at. I just don't know which one is the best right now. So I'm going to go ahead and equalize this measurement in the center on each side, and then run with that for the front, and I'll figure something out in the back as to what we want to do. Alright guys, day 2 of the solar panel install. This could very easily be a 4 to 5 hour day project for anybody. Extremely easy to install a solar panel system into your existing camper. Now, after the last clip, I stopped recording and I went ahead and got everything final on the roof. Well, for the most part. Solar panel is installed, the wiring is run, and into this little cubby right over here. Next is to run the wiring from the battery up in the front, down the frame, and up the back behind the refrigerator to come into the Wanderer charge controller. Now let me turn the camera around and show you what it's going to look like in the little cubby. So here is the little cubby that I'm going to be putting stuff in. This is the original switch panel and the fuse panel. I had thought about taking the charge controller and mounting it right here, mainly because it sits nice and flush, and it'll sit behind the door. The only downfall to that is the wiring that would come over here and then be in the way over here. And I just want this to be nice and sleek as it is, even though it's old as can be. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little Kydex tray similar to this to sit right here to have this mount onto, and then I can pull the entire tray out and not have to worry about anything in that vicinity. In here we have the wiring coming from the solar panel. So this is the positive and this is the negative. I made sure that they are different. Don't want to touch those because those can short out of the solar panel itself. I can go ahead and put a meter on those and it'll show me that it's pulling in electricity from the sun right now. The rest of this right here is just my radio antenna and my power and the speaker wiring. So that's all irrelevant to the whole entire process, really. The next thing is this wiring right here. That wiring comes from the panel and the switches, which feeds the DC and the AC voltmeters. Now, my big thing here is, right now I'm running solely on 12 volt. My water pump is running. It's dry. I don't want to run it too much. My headlight working, and the vent, it's working on 12 volt as it should while I'm off grid. And so I have a full battery and I'm still hooked into shore power, so it's still showing me electricity there. The big thing is the only metering ability I have for my battery is right here. So I can hit the battery monitor and it tells me my battery is good, but it doesn't tell me a number. And I need to know a number without going up to the battery and getting a voltmeter on there. I want to make sure that I can monitor that battery from inside the camper. So I'm going to go ahead and get another meter that I'm going to put right here. And it'll be a dual LED display. And one of them is going to show me what the solar panel is bringing in. So I'll wire one of them to the solar panel, and then one of them will come from the battery. And that will tell me what I'm using and what I'm bringing in, which will be a lot better than this. So as we can see here, I'm solely on 12 volt. Now, if I hit my main and my general purpose switches, you'll see my 12 volt jump up quite a bit. So watch this. On right now. So now I'm on DC and I'm charging from the 110. And then this will say charging. But if I turn that off, running solely on battery, which is fine, that'll be just fine in the end. But I want to go ahead and wait for that stuff because that won't come from Amazon for a couple of days. I'm going to go ahead and run the wiring from the battery up into along the frame, up the wall and into here. That way I can go ahead and get this solar panel charging the battery when it's not hooked up to the 110. Now this is the way this system works, the inverter and converter down here, which is all in there. The way that works, when I'm hooked up to a vehicle, the battery from the vehicle charges the battery. It's very slow, but it charges. When I'm hooked up to shore power, it's charging from the inverter. But I want to make sure that the solar panel is charging the battery, and I'm not having to rely on a vehicle or shore power to do so. That's why I got the solar panel all together. Alright, so here's what I got done last night. Brackets in the front and the rear are done. There's butyl tape in the front, which I'm going to go ahead and clean that up here in a little bit. But that is to prevent water getting into the holes. And then I'm going to go ahead and put lap sealant around the entire bracket, inside and out, on all 4 sides. Now my issue comes down to what I did, and it's a huge mistake on my part, but it's okay. I can deal with it. Is that I measured, so I found out these were 16 inches on center, so I measured 32 inches back from the front of this on the bracket. As you can see there, that's 32 inches back. Drilled a new hole in the bottom, put the bracket on, and then placed it. Issue comes in that I didn't account for this gap right here. So this is actually say 0, 16, 32. 32 is actually up here where this line is right here. And so that actually put my rear holes a little bit further back, and the little spline that runs in the ceiling is actually right here. So I had to drill a new hole in the front side of the bracket. I'm not going to remove that screw because I don't want to cause another hole to be empty, to not get filled with lap sealant or putty. So I'm going to go ahead and just lap sealant this entire thing and keep that there. But that was my mistake in this entire thing. You know, measure twice, cut once, measure twice, drill once in this situation. But I can accommodate for it with the lap sealant, I believe. That's why I went ahead and got this done last night. That way this could all squish out, and that's what it did. I had all this cleaned up last night, but it went ahead and pushed out, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it up nice and clean, place the lap sealant on there, and that'll prevent leaks from happening in the ceiling. Well guys, solar panel's on, solar panel is in. The inside is not complete, but it is working appropriately. So I don't know, I can't even get up there. So the vent is right above me, and the back side of the refrigerator is right here. I took a couple steps too far, and I thought about doing something afterwards, and that was running that line in the wall and then running into the inside of the camper and then running to the front and then dumping it out right by the battery. I wish I would have now, but it's fine. It would have saved me about 4.5, 5 foot of cable, and I would have had enough, but it's not a big deal. So what I did, I ran it down that flue, and it comes down this side right here. This is the back side of the fridge. I have 2 lines right here, which you can't see maybe. Those 2 lines right there go inside underneath the fender well, which then run over the fender well into here. And over to here. And this was the closest I could get to dumping it out and not knowing what was underneath it. So the floor right here isn't in the greatest shape. If you can see this wood, it's a little rotted. So I needed to go ahead and repair that anyways eventually, but I can't really do that with the way it is. So I'm just going to silicone around on the inside and the outside and call it. But then the cable runs underneath, which I will fix this appropriately, and it runs along the gas line, which the gas line runs all the way to the front, comes all the way up here to the front underneath where the water tank sits, and it mends right there. Well, right there. There is a good connection, and it is heat shrinked and everything. That's the heavy duty wiring that was there before that the panel came with. That runs up to the battery, which then is in here appropriately, which doesn't need to be tightened down. So let's go ahead, run inside right quick. Kiddo's been in here. We've been working quite a bit. So there we go. There's the controller. It's on. I haven't got the panel up here yet, but panel side, battery side. Flashing PV means the solar panel is working. It is not fused right here, but it will be fused eventually. But I am off. No, wait, hold on. Now it's off. And it's charging. So the solar panel is doing its job. It's charging the battery and rejuvenating the loss of power. So I did figure out that if my inverter is off, I can turn this stuff on. Oh, I can get it here. I can get that on. I can run everything that's 110 so far, except for the TV. For some reason, that just cuts it off right away. So the 12 volt, if I got to figure something out. The 12 volt will not run the TV, which I know it could, but it's not a 12 volt TV. So I figured with an inverter, it would work, but it doesn't. So anyways, I also got the replacement hot water heater. I gotta put the phone back on, but the hot water heater is in. I've tested it once, so let's go out here and let's test it again. I thought I was gonna do a whole video on that, but I don't have time for that. It wasn't a huge project by any means, but got new propane tanks, new solar panel, new battery, new hot water heater. So which one's full? This one's full right here. Okay. So here we go. Pilot. It's on pilot right now. Actually, here, just pilot right there. Let's just go see if there's enough gas in the line. Ha! It'll work still. So the pilot is working. Let's see it. On. Simply amazing, guys. Now I'm not going to go ahead and heat that up yet because I don't have any water in it, and my lines on the other side aren't connected yet. But they're going to be in about 5 minutes. So anyways, thanks for watching the solar panel install video here. It's been fun. I still got room for 1 or 2 more up there. I could probably get knocked in to series, so I might do that eventually. But until then, thanks for tuning in and watching, guys. Keep calm and carry on. See you later.